Wow, this is really something. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Luann Jewel Pohl, and I'm a proud graduate of the class of 1973 from Grant Community High School. I have the extreme honor of introducing one of the two GCHS Hall of Fame inductees, Kim Schnoor. Before we ask Kim to come forward, I have a few things that I'd like to share about this most amazing woman. I promise it won't take me a half hour. But it could. I hope that all of you had the opportunity to read about the write-up about Kim and her incredible list of accomplishments, not only on behalf of GCHS, but on behalf of our community and really the world overall. Although we graduated together, our true friendship began a few months later because of the lifelong friendship between my husband, John, and Jeff's mom and dad. John and I were engaged, and Kim and Jeff were dating, and they were at the very beginning of their dating life, and we met at the senior Schnoor's home one fateful evening, and we clicked immediately. Both Kim and Jeff stood up in our wedding in 1974, but prior to that date, Kim and I learned that we were perhaps destined to be besties forever. While helping me address our wedding invitations in cursive, because we're that old. She asked how I knew the Buckholz family. I told her that my dad's sister, Ruth, was married to Earl Buckholz. We then soon discovered that my Aunt Ruth was best friends with Kim's grandma Carlson, and in about 1925, they stood up in each other's weddings. That's almost 100 years ago. This wonderful discovery meant a reunion between these two ladies at our wedding. Memories were recalled, and more memories were made. Since that day, the next generation of Pohl-Schnoor friendships has continued and deepened. I was honored to be in Kim and Jeff's wedding, and I am doubly honored to be their daughter Jenny's godmother. And finally, at my last go of it in the working world, Kim was my boss. I probably don't have to mention that she was absolutely the best boss I've ever had, and I've had many. But I can confirm she is the best person in the world. She is smart, compassionate, smart, hardworking, smart, giving. Did I mention smart? She is exactly the person you read about in the Hall of Fame piece. I can absolutely confirm it. When you sit about 10 feet away from a person in the same room for 12 years or so, I can absolutely tell you that she is all of those adjectives and so much more. It was an amazing thing to watch, and it made me proud to be a part of her team. If you haven't figured it out, I'm kind of shy and not very outspoken, so I should probably turn this over to those who are in charge. But I can't close without saying something about Kim's co-Hall of Famer, Sharon Walkburg. Sharon is by far one of the sweetest and most genuine people to have come into my life. I remember distinctly being an incoming freshman and being a bit nervous and confused about this thing called high school. Sharon was one of those who immediately reached out and calmed my nerves. She was a sweetheart then and has remained so throughout her life. Her time with Grant is remarkable. It's kind of special to me, as my mom was GCHS registrar in the 1940s. Possibly the early description of a position that Sharon rocked for so many years. Grant Community High School runs through my veins, as my dad was in the 3rd graduating class. Our Auntie Pearl was the GCHS first cheerleader, and in the 1st graduating class. My siblings represent the classes of 1958, 1960, 1961, and 1966, in addition to John in the class of 72. And with Kim's induction into this very same school Hall of Fame brings it full circle. Kim may not be my blood relative, but she is most definitely my family. In closing, I recently ran across a meme, and it has summed up this awesome woman perfectly. It read, "A person's most beautiful asset is not likely a head full of knowledge, but a heart full of love, an ear ready to listen, and a hand willing to help others." Ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored to introduce my best friend, Kim Schnoor.
this is pretty humbling. Anyone who's ever stood up and heard things about themselves may or may not be reminded of Huck Finn and attending his own funeral. It's a humbling, lovely evening. And I thank all of you for taking the time to attend. And I'm still kind of blown away that John Benedetti flew in for this from Florida. So thank you for that. I've been reflecting on what it means to be inducted into the Grant Community High School Hall of Fame. It's an honor and it's an opportunity. An opportunity to recognize the community, the groups, and the individuals who work together for the greater good, who show up and do the work. In the words of John Wesley, who happened to be the founder of the Methodist Church, do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. It is a time to give thanks and to recognize that this honor is all about being part of a team. Teamwork makes a dream work. I start with the person who nominated me, Luann Jewel Pohl. As Luann mentioned, she and I were both graduates of the class of '73, but never met until after we graduated because I only attended Grant for one semester of my senior year. No, I wasn't expelled. I graduated early in January of '73, having grown up in Mundelein and attended Fairhaven, Diamond Lake, and Mundelein High School until the end of my junior year in 1972, when my family moved to Big Hollow Road in Ingleside, where I met Jeff Schnoor, class of '71, the cute boy across the road, at a New Year's Eve skating party at my Aunt Nancy and Uncle Don Brothers' house. Yep, his parents, Fritz and Lee Schnoor, were friends of Jane and Louis Pohl, who is John Pohl's parents, who married Luann. So yes, we all became friends, and that's why Luann says such nice things about me. Luann was class president all 4 years of high school, and she knew absolutely everyone, and I think I heard a rumor that she was the first female class president. Is that true? That is true, all 4 years. How about that? She shattered that glass ceiling. To say that she welcomed me into the community would be an understatement. Our friendship, lifelong, is a treasure. I can say with 100% certainty that her presence in my life is a big reason why I'm up here tonight. She introduced me to her friends, her family, she worked with me, she encouraged me, to say nothing of the fact that she nominated me for this. Thank you, Luann. Thank you so much. Thank you, I love you too. Before I go on with the rest of my thanks, I want to lift up and honor my co-inductee, Sharon Walk-Burr. Sharon graduated with my husband in the class of '71. You may have seen the picture of the guy in the convertible with the 3 beautiful women sitting in back. That was Sharon and June Cantak, and there was one other woman there, and I don't have her name, but she might be here tonight, so I apologize in advance. But the cute guy who was driving them was Jeff Schnoor. And so the fun part is, this Saturday, Jeff Schnoor is going to be driving me and Sharon in the homecoming parade. So there you go. So not only did Sharon graduate with Jeff in the class of '71, she and her family, as has been mentioned, have a multi-generational connection with GCHS. I have always admired her service at the school and in the community. Her kindness is indeed one of her hallmarks. Her genuine desire to help, her humility, her spirit, and her grace under pressure is second to none. Anyone who knows Sharon knows she always wants to do more for people. She always wants to be an even better angel than she already is. Sharon, it's an honor to have shared this stage with you. Congratulations to you. My speech is a little bit longer than yours though, so sorry. Sharon's the one that told me that we had to make a speech, so I blame her for all of this. So my time as a member of the Board of Education actually started back in 1979 when my brother, Glenn Carlson, class of 74, was at the age of 22, the youngest trustee at the College of Lake County, and was about to head down to Champaign to the University of Illinois to further his education. So he thought it would be a good idea for me to run for the position he was vacating on the Board of Trustees at the College of Lake County. I don't know. We campaigned hard, and I lost. There were 2 seats open, there were 7 people running, I came in third. I was processing all of that when Glenn, who was a mastermind, and still is, as far as numbers and data, said to me, you know, you polled really well in Grant Township. You should run for the high school board. The rest, as they say, was history. I ran for the Board of Education in 1980. I was 25 years old. I had no idea what I was doing, and it was one of the best things I ever did. So Glenn, I thank you for encouraging me to get involved and for giving me some tools to use to start out with. You said, listen, read, and then do what you believe is the right thing for the students and the community. Which brings me to the next group, my fellow board members. Over the course of the 25 years that I served on the board, I cannot tell you how many times people would walk up to me and say, what is it about your board that makes it so special? And special it was. The mutual respect, the willingness to listen, the lack of any particular agenda other than what would truly be best for the students and the community was amazing. I literally had people from other boards ask me how we did that. And I can tell you how it happened. Fellow board members, it was because of you. Your lack of ego, your true desire to do the right thing, your passion for the best outcome here at GCHS is how and why we always had outstanding relationships on our Board of Education. I would ask, because I see many of you here that I served with, that the rest of you give that board a big round of applause. And you still do. Speaking of outstanding people, I'd now like to lift up the administration and staff members. Without you, none of this happens. Over the course of time, I worked with a number of superintendents, including Lee Miller, Don Klusendorf, John Benedetti, and with Christy Sefcik, who, when I was on the board, was hired as our business manager, and is now, obviously, superintendent. Our teachers, counselors, coaches, deans, custodians, food service, transportation, technology, building and grounds people, all of you make 124 great. Thank you. I would like to give all of those folks a round of applause, please. I'd like to call out a couple of people I worked with while I was on the Board of Education who had a profound impact on our district. Back in about 1999, or thereabouts, it became obvious that we were going to need to expand the physical footprint and scope of our campus. And we also needed to amp up our education fund finances. The the number of students that we were expecting to come into the district was expanding very quickly. Can anyone say Valley Lakes? Do you remember when all of that was being built and we were looking at that saying, how are we going to do that? So we had several all-community meetings. It was decided that we needed to ask the community to back not just one, but two referendums, a building bond referendum and an education fund referendum. Two referendums at one time. It was just about unheard of. And it was in our hardworking, largely blue-collar community. It was a big ask. And two people stepped up, headed up the referendum committee, my co-chair, Paul Jackstis, who had been a member and president of the school board for many years, and my sister, Gail Carlson McManaman. They put together a crew of well over 100 volunteers who worked diligently and with great enthusiasm, and because of them and all the many volunteers, did the almost unthinkable. Our community, you all, passed both referendums the first time they were on the ballot at a time when referendums were not popular at all. I'd like to give you a big round of applause. We did have another referendum after that in '06. I chaired that referendum committee after retiring from the board in '05, and once again, the community showed up in full force and got it done. The school you see today is a direct result of this community's commitment to doing the right thing. And now, last but certainly not least, I would like to acknowledge my family, starting with my parents, Phil Carlson and Polly Smargy, for all of their sacrifices and good examples, and for giving me 4 amazing siblings who are all worthy of also standing on this stage, being honored as I am. Glenn Carlson, class of '75, Craig Carlson, class of '76, Gail Carlson McManaman, class of '77, and Kurt Carlson, class of '83, plus Glenn's husband Michael, Kurt's wife Samantha, as well as my aunts Nancy Brothers, Lois Orman, and Rala Hyman. Jeff's family, including his dad Fritz and his mother Lee McNeil Schnoor, valedictorian of the class of 1943. His brother Bill, class of '70, Cindy, class of '75, Bill's wife Deb, plus our fabulous nieces and nephews from both sides of the family. Jessica, class of '02, Brittany, class of '07, Blair and Brooke, Josh, class of '05, Robin, class of '98, Carter, Drew, Emily, Tyler, Jaden, and Evelyn. You all make the world a better place. My husband, partner, and best friend, Jeff Schnoor, class of '71. Thank God for your patience. Seriously. Your sense of humor, seriously. And your understanding of me, really seriously. To say that I'm grateful doesn't even begin to express it. I love you. To our wonderful children, Eric, class of '96, Jenny, class of '99, Molly, class of '99, and Lexi, Frankie, Mike, Brock, and Violet. You make our lives complete, and we are so grateful for the kind, loving, and generous people you are. To friends from Joyful Spirit Church, from the Rotary, from the Antioch Area Healthcare Accessibility Alliance, that's a mouthful. It also goes by AHA, we'll talk later. From REMAX, and from Life. You are the icing on the cake. Thank you. I love you all, and we are indeed a team. You are my Hall of Fame.
resolution for Mrs. Kim Schnoor. Be it known, the Grant Community High School District 124 Board of Education hereby adopts this resolution as a means of recognizing the selection of Mrs. Kim Schnoor into the Hall of Fame. And whereas Mrs. Schnoor graduated from Grant Community High School in the class of 1973, and whereas Mrs. Schnoor has strong family ties to GCHS as graduates and the Schnoor and Carlson families include 3 generations, beginning with her mother-in-law, Letra McNeil Schnoor, who was valedictorian of her class in 1943. And whereas Mrs. Schnoor became a member of the Board of Education in 1980, just a few years after high school graduation, serving as a member for 10 years, vice president for 9 years, and board president for 6 years, culminating in a total of 25 years of dedicated service to the students and staff of GCHS. Whereas Mrs. Schnoor played an integral part in the growth of the school facilities as co-chair of the 2000 Referendum Committee and the chair of the 2008 Referendum Committee, both successful endeavors under her leadership. And whereas Mrs. Schnoor has excelled in her profession, where she is a well-respected and successful real estate broker and recipient of the RE/MAX Hall of Fame Award, RE/MAX Lifetime Achievement Award, national winner of RE/MAX International's highest honor, the Platinum Club Award, and the Miracle Agent Donor Children's Miracle Network Hospital. And whereas Mrs. Schnoor continues to give back to the community as a long-standing member of the Fox Lake Brown Lake Area Rotary Club, serving as vice president and president before becoming an honorary member in 2009. And whereas Mrs. Schnoor has held a variety of leadership roles at the Joyful Spirit United Methodist Church, she is a member of the board of directors of the Antioch Area Healthcare Accessibility Alliance, and from 2005 to 2015, she graciously provided the Letra McNeil Schnoor Scholarship for GCHS students, and she participates annually in the GCHS Career Day. And whereas Mrs. Schnoor has earned admiration in her profession and in her community, therefore be it resolved that the Grant Community High School District 124 Board of Education recognizes Mrs. Schnoor as a member of the Grant Community High School Hall of Fame on this September 9th, 2024.